My name is Carla. Welcome to my channel. This week we're going to be trying to finish my February TBR, and let me say, I'm kind of smashing it. I read a couple of extra books that are not on my TBR, and I'm still gonna finish it. So that's actually really exciting. I'm having a great month. I'm enjoying reading. I'm loving it. I just want to keep reading. So let me show you what we have to finish. The problem here is I have this confidence, but it is Sunday and the month is over on Friday. So including today, I have 6 days, but it's almost 2 p.m. So do I really? No. Still have to do laundry, walk the dogs, make dinner, do all the stuff, the Sunday reset stuff, and would like to keep reading. So I'm currently halfway through Northanger Abbey, which I started in my last reading vlog, which was mood reading, and I'm still loving it. I think I have like less than 2 hours left, so I should probably choose to finish this one today. The problem is it's actually making me a little bit frustrated because the characters are so well written. I'm so sad for our main character, Catherine. I'm 50% of the way through and she's finally going to Northanger Abbey, okay? I feel like, is there any such thing as spoilers in a 200-year-old book? Yes, there are. She doesn't see people's faults the same way that the reader does. She's very naive in a fun way, but also like, girl, pull your head out of your ass. These people are using you. They're not nice to you. It's difficult to read, and I really hope it ends well for her. I will say Jane Austen is not known for writing crappy endings to books like some people were at the time. I am usually happy with the endings to her books. So that is the only thing keeping me together right now. I think we're gonna see some plot twists, which is crazy. She's such a good writer, was. Jane Austen's books never cease to amaze me. So we're gonna finish this. So that's the first book on the list. Then also on here we have The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren. I picked this book in my February TBR with the intention to read it over Valentine's Day because it's a Valentine's Day book. It's just a short story. I think it's really short. And then I just didn't. I forgot that it was on my list, and Valentine's Day has come and gone and I haven't read it, but I'm still gonna read it because love as always. I also just picked a book for my March TBR that is another Valentine's Day short story, and I don't care, okay? So that is book number 2, short story. Then we have The Spanish Doctor by Matt Cohen. This is 15th century Spain. I think after I'm done Northanger Abbey, this is gonna be the one that I read next, because I'd like to end the week on a happy note, and I think that this probably is not going to end happily. I do really like historical fiction. I used to love it a whole lot more than I do now, but I'm still looking forward to reading this book. It's not an era that I read about very often. 1400s are kind of unknown to me. Then we also have Collide by Bal Cabra. I got this from the library. Also realized it's a Canadian author, which is really cool. I don't know which province, because I'm trying to read a Canadian author from every province. Doesn't say where she's from. And then I have one more book that I didn't expect to come in on time, but it is. So actually the list is long. So that is 3 full-size books, half of another book, and a short story that I want to read in 5 days. And like, I have a job and a life and a husband and dogs. So I'm not sure what this means for me, but I'm gonna do my best, which means I should probably get to reading, which means do I want to finish Northanger Abbey, or is it making me too sad? I read a little bit this morning and I was like, so sad for her. Okay, it says I have an hour and a half left. I should just read this. I should just finish it. Maybe I'll walk the dogs first. I should take them for a walk. Get that over with, because I don't really feel like it. And then I'll go in on this. So it has been a couple of days and I thought I should do an update on Sunday night. I finally finished Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen and I loved it. I think I had like 50% left to read when I started this video, right? I loved it. I finished it Sunday night in the bath. That was the right vibes for Northanger Abbey. It was so good. I will say it's probably my least favorite of the Jane Austen books that I've read, and I still rated it 4 stars. She writes an amazing female main character, right? Like, you know that if you know anything about Jane Austen. You go into reading her books like you think that you know enough about women hundreds of years ago because of what you read in history books or hear about it. And you're like, no, these are obviously complex human beings with emotions and opinions, and she writes that perfectly. And I would actually argue that Catherine was the most relatable to me because she's not as headstrong as some of her other characters, because I'm quite naive and timid when it comes to life, and Catherine is as well. And though I think she's only like 17 or something in this book, so maybe it makes a little bit more sense as well that she's younger. Yeah, you get to the Abbey about halfway through, and it really plays into those stories like the Bronte sisters, right? Of like those gothic homes, and she has all of these feelings about where she is, and then it kind of is poking fun at it. It's kind of satire, and I thought it was really enjoyable. And I really liked it, and it ended really fun. I know I said I was a little bit angry, so I didn't want to read it, and I stayed angry a few times. Like, her characters are very flawed in this book, but I think that that's kind of fun. I do wish we got a little bit more insight into Henry and Eleanor's other brother. I think his name is Frederick. He's barely in it. I thought that we would get a little bit of insight into why he made a couple of the decisions that he did, but we didn't really get that. But that's okay. And I also wanted to hear more from General Tilney. Northern Abbey was a 4-star to me. I'm really happy I read it, and now I really only have Mansfield Park left to read. So hopefully I get to that this year and then can finish the whole backlist of Jane Austen. I started reading The Spanish Doctor by Matt Cohen, and I made it not very far. I read the prologue and the first chapter, and I am sadly DNFing this book. I think it's a hard DNF and not a soft DNF. I don't think I'd pick it up again. Honestly, part of it is the physical book. I hate how small this writing is and how much my eyes feel strained reading it. Even the other day, I actually increased the size on my Kindle, so maybe I just need to go back to my eye doctor. Chapter 1 is a very vivid description of a 1400s cesarean. He is a doctor, but I didn't know that he was a surgeon, and I can't really talk about blood without getting queasy, and it made me feel a little bit ill. So that's part of it, because I'm expecting more scenes like that to come in. I used to love books like this, but like I don't really feel like reading about religious wars. I don't actually love DNFing a book, but I would have had to force myself to get through it. So this is actually my first DNF of 2025. I'm gonna set that to the side. I'm gonna not think about it anymore, and I'm gonna read the next book, which I haven't started yet. I didn't read it all yesterday. It's Tuesday today. Did I say that? It's Tuesday today. The end of the month is Friday. Month end for work for me is always really busy, so we'll see if I get this done, because I have this book to read and then Collide and then a short story to read between now, Tuesday at 8 p.m. and Friday, and I usually go to bed by like 9:30, so I'm gonna read for maybe 2 hours now, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. So we'll see how far I get. But my next book is The Red Tent by Anita Diamant. This was one that I got from the library for my February TBR jar video. I forget what the prompt was, honestly. I think it was something like biblical fiction, and I wanted like a good women's historical fiction, which this is. There's no synopsis on this, but on this physical copy, I tried to find it because I just picked it up the other day and I don't remember what it's about, but it might be Dinah. It's all of the women in her life and the generations teaching her what she needs to know in these biblical times of women just not being treated fairly, I guess. And it has a tree at the beginning. I realized, a family tree of the generations, and it is mostly the women mentioned, which I think is very cool. So I am curious to see what this is like. I haven't read a biblical fiction in a long time. I'm hoping it's not like a Karen Kingsbury style book. I'm hoping it's more like a Francine Rivers Voice in the Wind style book, which is like one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I say that. I love the first 2 books. I do not like the 3rd book. I am going to read this next. This also is very small writing. Maybe I should get my glasses. I might have a pair in here. What's going on?
When the boy was delivered and the cord severed, Rachel held him first.
I feel so bad. I am about 75 pages into The Red Tent, and The only thing that I'm reading about so far is childbirth. That's it. That's all it is. Sister wives and childbirth. And I'm not interested in that. I thought it was going to be about Dina's life. I understood that it was passing information down from generation to generation, but I didn't think it was like, and then this baby was born and this is how the childbirth went, and this baby was born and this is how the childbirth went. Like, I'm just not interested. I'm curious if it's gonna get better. I don't think it will. I'm also not loving the writing. It's not awful. It's not awful. It's just this book is, what year was this published? 1997. And I can tell some of the word choices are questionable, and there's some stuff about boys seeking sheep for their needs. Just things that I'm not interested in reading about. So I'm DNFing my second book in a row. It's so unfortunate. I really was hoping that this finishing my TBR would actually force me to have to read more books. And I was like, I'm not just DNFing this so that I can get everything done by the end of the month, right? And then I thought about it and I was like, if I read this the first day of the month, I would DNF it. I can't function. I can't read this book. I can't do it. It's not happening. I still have like 2.5 days till the end of the month. I'm glad I chose to save what I think will be the best for last. So I'm now going to move on to reading a short story by Christina Lauren. The one that I should have read closer to Valentine's Day, but that's okay. Let me see what it's called. I keep forgetting what it's called. The Great Something. The Exception to the Rule. That is what I'm going to read now. I'm not sure how long it will take, probably really quick. So then I'll probably actually start the last book, Collide, tonight as well. Because I do have 2 more days after this, but we have volleyball tomorrow night, and then I'm hanging out with a friend on Friday, and I work late on month-end day. So this is the best day for me to get lots of reading done. So after I'm done this, I will start reading Collide right away. 2 DNFs in a row. My first one of the year and then my second one of the year back to back is not a great track record. So I am excited to read this. Oh, it's kind of a long short story. It's 100 pages. It says a typical reading time is 2 hours. I'll probably be a little bit under that. I think that I am kind of a page a minute kind of person, but we will see. It's not even 5 o'clock, so I'll probably read this and then make dinner after and then keep reading the next book. But that is my unfortunate update for you guys. I actually kind of want to take a shower and wash my hair. I'm contemplating doing that. Anyway, doesn't matter. I like to read 3 books a video, and this is going to be 1 full book, 1 short story, and half another book. And I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it? I don't think I've ever used that phrase in my entire life. What am I doing? Anyway, I have greasy hair. I'm gonna go shower. I'm gonna shower and then I'm gonna read. I literally just started The Exception to the Rule and I'm already having fun. I'm on like page 15. I'm on page 15 and I'm already having so much fun. It's just email back and forth to start of like someone accidentally sent an email to someone else and now every year on Valentine's Day they email each other. It's so cute. That's all I have to say is that finally I found a book that I like and I love love, so it's easy to like. Anyway, that's my update. Bye. Okay, I'm now 50% of the way through. It took me 20 minutes to read half of it, so making good time actually, but that's because it's emails and you don't read like their email address every time. I don't really care about that part. Anyway, I'm at 53% and the emails are finally done. It's 10 years later, okay? They've been emailing each other for 10 years. I love a book like this. I love it. And I am sad that it's a short story and not a full-length book. And I think they're about to meet. So that's all I'm gonna say. You're so pretty. I promise he chose this spot on his own. Look at your little pose. Hey, look at your little pose. You're so cute. Yeah, I know you love a belly rub. Yesterday, you guys saw me start reading The Exception to the Rule on my Kindle. And I have to say, this is the first short story that I have ever rated 5 stars enthusiastically. Like, I actually wish this was a full-length book. It was so cute. It made me just smile, and I loved both of our main characters. How can you get to love 2 main characters in like first 50 pages are emails? And then it did like a little dual POV, and it was just so cute. And our male main character, you don't even know him, and I think he's hot. He is understanding. He is so kind. So there's not much to say about a short story, but if you need to read like a quick short story, read The Exception to the Rule by Christina Lauren, because it was so cute and it just put me into a romance mood before I started my next book, which was we'll let it play out. You good? Is that all you needed, or are you gonna do it again? I might do it again. What was I saying? There's not much to say about a 100-page story without giving too much away, because the whole story is the plot. There's no like side characters or anything to think about. And now he's gonna have to go outside. This dog, man, his timing is impeccable. I also just made myself a latte. I try to only have one coffee a day, but oh my goodness, I needed it. Thursday, it just hits me. Anyway, the exception's the rule. Easy 5-star. I loved my characters. I loved this story. It made me excited to read after 2 DNFs, but I think I'm glad that I finished those books when I did and put them down without trying too hard to keep going, because that would have put me actually into a slump, but I gave up at an appropriate time. That I was like, okay, now I need to pick up something good, and I did. So that was wonderful. I'm gonna take the dogs to the bathroom and then we'll talk about the next book I started. Then the next book that I started was Collide by Ball Cabra yesterday, and I got almost 100 pages in. I'm 95 pages in. I am loving this as well. Not to the same extent. Maybe I'll just start with the things that I'm not loving about the book, because they are things that I noticed immediately. Honestly, it's the writing. I feel like anytime I don't like a book, that's the number one thing I say, but it just takes you out of the story when you feel like you have to reread sentences because they're just not making sense to you. And I'm not sure what it is. I also was really tired when I started reading this, so maybe it's my own fault to some extent, but I almost think like the adjectives are written in a different place in the sentences or something. Like I feel like I have to reread sentences to understand what's going on, because they're just not in a way that I normally would. It's just not smooth. Not in a way that I would normally write sentences myself. So maybe I just don't, I don't know. I'll keep reading and I'll see if that's still a problem, but it doesn't take me too far out of the story, but just enough that I'm recognizing that I'm thinking about it too hard. And the other thing is there are some inconsistencies that I don't love. What am I thinking of specifically? She like fell on the ice while she was wearing leggings, and then they met for an hour, and then it's like, oh, he had to drive her home because she was still quite wet. But like I've fallen on ice on my butt and gotten up, and it goes away after like 20 minutes. It's cold, but you don't stay soaking wet from indoor rink ice. So that part kind of bugged me. And I feel like there's some other things that are just like, I forget if it was like a hair flip, but her hair was in a bun or something. I forget. There was something where I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense for what you just told me they were doing. But I don't think it was that. Anyway, those are the things that just like I overthink them, and then it's not that deep, but I make it deeper than it is because I hate an inconsistency. Anyway, now I'm being nitpicky. It is a fun story. I really do like both of our main characters. So we're following Summer, who's trying to go to graduate school, and she's writing like a paper to try to get in for her advisor. And she is a sports psychologist. So she's working with Aiden, who is the captain of the hockey team at school. And she hates hockey, and we don't know why yet. You know that her dad played hockey and that he now is a hockey coach, and that she's not in contact with him. So obviously we know that that's why, but we don't know the details yet. And Aiden thinks that she hates hockey because of an ex-boyfriend. So it's kind of a fun dynamic that they haven't talked about yet, but he thinks he knows why. And he is having burnout problems, and he's partying too much, and he's not focusing on the right things. So he has to kind of do customer service. Customer service? I'm blanking. What is it called when it is service? Oh gosh, when you're on probation and you have to do. Anyway, he's trying not to be on probation. So he's doing these things, like he's volunteering for the kids program, and he has to help her with her thesis. Why can't I think of what it's called? Maybe it's on the back. It's just calling it punishment, but they're calling it whatever that is when you have to help. Community service. Oh my goodness, how did I forget that for so long? So they're just getting flirty, and Aiden is wonderful. I think he is such a good male main character. He is attentive, and he listens to things that she said forever ago and does the little thing, and I think that's so wonderful. He is now getting very flirty, but you know that if she was like, hey, you're making me uncomfortable, he would stop. You can just tell. Obviously she's flirting back, but she, I think, thinks it's just fun, and he knows he's falling for her. So if you want a guy falls first story, this is going well so far. February ends tomorrow, so I have to finish this between today and tomorrow. And I have plans tomorrow night after dinner as well. I am going to read today. We're gonna walk the dogs in about an hour, and then I'll come back and I'll read some more, and then go play volleyball, and then tomorrow I'll work all day, then I'll read some more, and then I might have to finish at nighttime in bed just to get done before the end of February, because I would love to finish it. Last night it was hard to put it down, even though I was so tired and I really needed to go to sleep, so that is a good sign for this book. It is almost 3:30. Let's read a little. Oh, he's such a good flirt, you guys. I am just going to, oh, I have morning voice for sure. I haven't talked yet at all. I'm just going to quickly clean the kitchen before I go to work. So I thought that I would update you on Clyde while I am at it because I'm ready early. It's month end, so I work late, so I start late. Normally I'd be starting work right now, but I work about an hour late, so I'm not sure if I'll go in early or not, but I'm going to be reading for a bit, so I thought I'd update you where I am. I got up to 250 pages yesterday. I'm on chapter 35, and I'm still really enjoying the book. I am finding it really easy to read, but there are some things now that are bothering me. I love a Grumpy Sunshine book, but more when it's like Black Cat, Golden Retriever. And I actually wouldn't say that Aiden is Sunshine or Golden Retriever. He's just very constant, and I really actually appreciate it. He doesn't feel like a trope. He feels like, I don't know, like a caring, constant person. And he keeps trying so hard, and he knows that Summer really, really likes him, and he just wants to prove it to her, I guess, is the vibe we're at, which is good, except for she's also not grumpy. She's just a bitch. Like, Summer is really getting on my nerves and needs some real character development real soon, or I'm just going to end this book annoyed because I have less than half left, and I'm so frustrated with her. She has her problems with her dad, and she has a lot of problems with her ex-boyfriend, which is annoying. I think he has ulterior motives, and she doesn't realize that. She's gone to therapy, so she understands that she has these problems, and she just lives in them, and she's just so mean. And I actually was trying to think if she has any, I have hair on me somewhere, if she has any redeeming qualities that she deserves Aiden to fall for her and deserves these wonderful friends that she has, and I just don't see it. I just don't see it. She's just so mean. She had maybe one really nice moment with him, and the rest is just like sexual tension, which is good, but there's no, obviously she likes him. She just doesn't act like it, so I'm not sure why he keeps going to her. I don't know. And you know, like when people bicker, I think it's wild love, right? Where they just bicker all the time, and it's romantic bickering. And like my husband and I are the same. People are like, man, you guys fight a lot. But we're like, no, we are bickering and we love it. She's just mean. She's not bickering. She's just mean. And it's hard to get past. It really is. So that's what I'm struggling with right now. I think there's like a bit too much of the middle is like just there purely for sex scenes, which is fine sometimes, but it's not what I was expecting, if I'm being honest. They're not cringy or anything, so that's good at least. They're very normal. I'm going to clean the kitchen, and then I'm going to read before work for like probably 20 minutes or so. So I will leave you with that. That is my update right now. I'm going to finish this today. It's Friday. It's the last day of February. So I am definitely going to finish this today. It's only like 150 pages. So maybe even before I go out with my friend tonight, we will see what the day holds. Can we also just give a minute to the hair? This is what happens when I wake up at the same time, but I get to start work an hour late. And I think it's so cute and fun. Anyway, I just filmed a February wrap-up for TikTok. So I thought good timing to talk about Collide. It's March 1st. And I failed a little bit. I had to read the last little bit this morning because I definitely started to fall asleep last night. I prioritized hanging out with my friend, got home at like 9:15, and then pretty much read, but just around 11 o'clock I couldn't do it anymore, and I had just like a little bit left. So I finished it this morning, but we're gonna say that's fine. Unfortunately, my opinion hasn't changed. I struggled so much with Summer. I don't know if I went in with too high of expectations because I was expecting to really love this book, especially after reading like The Graham Effect and The Dixon Rule. I really liked The Dixon Rule compared to The Graham Effect, actually. But I thought that this would be similar. I just think it comes down to the writing wasn't quite at the same level. Like, it just was a little bit difficult to read and kind of choppy, and Summer, I still find her unbearable. She became a little bit more bearable when I was reading this morning, but just, I don't really know anything about her except for that she's really difficult nut to crack. And I don't think that's a good enough characteristic for Aiden, who is an angel. Probably the best early 20s male main character I've ever read. I don't think he had any faults or ever did anything that I was like, ooh, which I kind of want from a male main character maybe. I just think they each needed a little bit of a blend of the other person to be a believable couple. I don't know. And then the end just kind of happened really fast, which is okay, but like it got a little bit boring in the middle and repetitive and a lot of smut. And then the end just kind of happened. So I'm rating this 2.5 stars, which feels really sad because it wasn't the worst book I've ever read, but if you read enough contemporary romance, sports romance, college romance, like you kind of develop a little bit of a line that everything has to reach, and this just didn't do it. So that's unfortunate. I will not be continuing the series. Even like his relationship with the guys that he lived with, the author kind of expected you to remember names that are only mentioned once every 10 chapters, and like, I don't know who you're talking about. That was kind of unfortunate. I think it had the potential to be something really great and maybe just needed another edit or something. And like I said, it's not Grumpy Sunshine, it's bitch loyal. I don't even know what to say. So that's an unfortunate place to end off. And this week was a little bit rough reading. I'm really glad I read The Exception to the Rule and really enjoyed it because at least I got one 5-star in, and it's crazy that it was 100 pages and it was a 5-star book for me from an author that I have DNF'd before. But I'm gonna leave you off there and hope that next week is a little bit more fun. Thank you so much for coming.